And we're back at South Texas Now, and this is Joe Flores, attorney at law, and your host. And we have on Carlos Lopez, a broadcaster, and we're here to talk about his children and a great message that he wants to convey. Welcome, Carlos.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You know, earlier we were talking about your father and he being, one of the pioneers of Hispanic broadcasters and everything that he contributed. And I want to thank you again for everything that you and your family have contributed in broadcasting, not just through South Texas, but throughout the U.S. and the world.
Yes.
But I want to focus in on something that I think I see you every day handle. And manage so well, and that is being a father and being a husband and being a provider with children with special needs. And of course, your oldest daughter is married to a doctor, I believe.
Right. That's correct.
And she's very talented and gifted herself. Graduated from UTSA.
That's correct. A bachelor's and a master's degree.
And but your younger children all have special needs.
That is correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
You know, Joe, when my father passed away, Joe, the Corpus Christi Caller-Times interviewed me and asked me what my father's greatest accomplishment was. And my father wanted to make sure that they knew, the public knew, because he was such a huge public figure, that his family was his biggest accomplishment. And I, too, my children have been my biggest accomplishment. It doesn't matter, Joe, if I have what God has given me and entrusted me here in Corpus Christi. I'm now in Brownsville in the Rio Grande Valley, Laredo, Texas, Houston, Joe, Victoria, San Antonio, Austin. All of those things are fantastic and great, Joe. But the love that you have for your children, for your family, is paramount. It's everything. And that, hopefully, with this interview, people will understand that putting God first and putting your family first are one of the most important things that you can do in life. And there's where you truly will see happiness and joy. Not how much you have in your bank account, how big is your house, or what kind of car you drive. It's the moments that you spend with your family that mean the world, because it's moments like that never come back again. God entrusted my wife and I with 3 children with special needs, Joe. When they were born in 1993, Eric, my oldest, he was born with autism. We didn't know what autism was, Joe. Even though I have a degree, I didn't really know what that was. The awareness was almost nothing. And I thought my wife has said that he was artistic and that he was going to paint. And we just didn't understand. We waited 13 years later, and my daughter was born, who's just celebrated her quinceañera, Allison, and she was born with Down syndrome. And she's an angel on earth. She's been with us for 15 years and wouldn't want to trade my life for anyone's life. And Anthony, who also has his own personal challenges, he's 10 years old. No one gave us a handbook to say, this is the way your life is going to look, Joe. We basically have learned and pray, and I feel that God entrusted my wife and I to take care of our children, to love them the best way we can, as all parents should. And we've done our best, but it is a different world, Joe. And the things that you do have to be, you have to take into consideration them as well, because they solely depend on you. Many of us have children and they go to 18 and then they move on to college and then they move away and parents become empty nesters. We will never become empty nesters, Joe. Our children will be with us every day. And I think it's important to people to have compassion to these children. Teach your children. Hate is not something you're born with. It's something that's taught. You got to teach your children to be respectful and kind and considerate to other children that are facing challenges. And it comes and it starts with the parents at home. We've been very blessed that our children have gone to great schools where people have been very kind and respectful. But it has been very challenging, Joel, to know and understand this is autism, this is Down syndrome, this is something else. And you got to keep on learning. You have to take them to therapy. Early intervention is very important, Joe, especially when you're facing a child with autism. Get them the proper treatments that they need. The Rice School of Corpus Christi, Joe, that was founded here by the Rumleys. It's a great start for families who are just recently had a child with special needs, for them to get started in school. And there's just great programs like Special Hearts. They belong to Special Hearts now as they're getting older. But there's a lot of resources out there for them to be part of a community, because we all want to be part of something, Joe.
And I want to thank you and for creating awareness about this, and also David Rumley, who not only has a special needs child, but he also has a child that passed away.
That's correct.
And when my daughter was in Incarnate Word, we made a decree. The commissioner did, and I wrote the decree for the commissioner, but he read it, and we devoted a garden there by the school for him. And but the Rumleys have done so much. The Rice School is. I recommend anybody, please support it.
That's correct.
Talk to me about travel. I remember you told me you never lose your cool, man. And you didn't lose your cool that time either, but you told me, and it just stuck with me, you said, they ought to do more for children with special needs or with people that have special needs for travel. I know the airports try, but tell me about that challenge.
We were traveling. My son-in-law, who was studying in St. Kitts down in the Bahamas, Joe, we went to go celebrate my grandson's first birthday. And as we were traveling back into the United States to Miami, the lines, Joe, internationally are like forever, in the airports trying to get in through Homeland Security. And there was people that eventually saw Allison, and this is the sad part as well, Joe. Sometimes, because Allison with her Down syndrome, you can easily tell that she has one, but there's other disabilities that you cannot see, like Eric, who looks just like you and I, but has issues, psychological issues, or challenges. That people would not recognize, and it's scary as a parent. If he starts screaming in a store or things of that nature. And as we were traveling inside Miami Dade International Airport, there was a Homeland Security individual that noticed that Allison was very fuzzy, and she was compassionate, and she let us come in. And eventually, federal regulators can create something like a fast pass, so to speak, for children with special needs, because it's very difficult, especially when they're in line, to tell someone. If it's you and I, we get frustrated, Joe. But imagine someone with special needs. It is hard.
It's horrific.
I mean, my son would bite me, Anthony, if he was a baby. But if he was going through what he's going right now, it's tough. Everything that we do, we have to calculate it. If we travel on an airplane, he likes to pick up his feet and things. Even it's not that he's as in Spanish as we would say being chiflao. He's not. It's part of his stemming. It's part of him moving around too much, and he can't help himself. And he'll pick up his feet. So imagine if you're in front of that seat and he's kicking. You would be upset. So. We have to coordinate it, my wife and I, so she sits there or I sit there. So, if it's us, it's different, but if it's somebody else, it's a little bit challenging. Everything that you do, you have to calculate, Joe, and plan accordingly, because it can have a bad impact, to others. I've seen it where Eric has gotten a little bit too close to somebody, and some lady, hey, you're too close, very upset. And I have to tell him, wait, I'm sorry, he's autistic, he doesn't know about spacing. And I have to, Eric, please move this way, baby. It's a lot of different things that the community, they're not aware of it, Joe. And if they look like you and I, it can be very bad. When my son was going into middle school for the first time at Cullen Middle School, I always, advocated, and you helped me as well, Joe, to make sure that they always had a paraprofessional. And I almost let him be where he didn't, because the idea is to not have that, Joe, so they can seek their independence. But what convinced me was that first day of school, there was a fight. And Eric, I said, "Bye, Eric. Bye, mijo. Have a great day." And he walks right into the fight, Joe. I mean, that could be bad for any child. He could get hurt. He could get killed. You never can tell. So, parents, Joe, we worry about a lot of different things that other parents perhaps don't. And we have to always constantly be on our guard and be aware of what we're doing.
Well, we've got a couple of minutes left, but what would you like to tell the public, about this very important issue?
I think if anything, teach your children to be compassionate. Teach them, the new generation, that not all of us are the same, and that there's different people that deal with different challenges. And I think at the end of the day, it starts at home. And sometimes we like to play it on schools and things of that nature. But I think it's important that it starts at home, to teach children and the new generation that to be kinder, more compassionate towards those who are perhaps suffering from different things that they either can't see or cannot see. I've asked, if anything in life, Joe, I've asked God for longevity for my wife and I to be with our children as long as we possibly can. The love that a parent has for their children is unmatched by money or anything in life. There will be no one in life, Joe, that will love Vanessa, your daughter, more than you or your wife. No one. So we pray for good health, longevity, and in our case, because the challenges that they live in every day, we ask God to be with us as much as possible, so we can advocate for them, so we can be there for them as well.
Well, thank you, Carlos Lopez, broadcaster and parent, and also a messenger to let people know about special needs that are very, very important for the general public to realize that they have to have patience, that they have to have understanding that there are parents out there that face special challenges, and so do their children.
Joe, I want to add something, because if you've been watching the show, you've been wondering, well, it seems very challenging. It is also very joyful. They are the most beautiful angels and souls that you will ever meet in life. They will bring so much joy to you. So, if you received notice here recently that perhaps your son got a diagnosis, or a daughter, with autism or had Down syndrome, it is not a death sentence. To the contrary, it is the most beautiful gift God can give you. He has entrusted you to be who you are and to be the best. So I would never want to change my life, Joe. It is the best thing that ever happened to us.
Carlos Lopez, broadcaster and also great father, and also dedicated to the community and creating awareness. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe.
Friend.
I love you, Joe.
I love you too, brother. Thank you all.